There we go. Yeah, I guess I'm jumping in late here. That sounds good. But when we discussed this before, I didn't get that wasn't the part that I remember, the bridging the sync async gap. So
he's getting it. You need some sort of the same way you do in there. I mean, you understand what it's there for. We just with this. It's just a way to. It's a point of synchrony for updates that are all each case.
I see.
It makes perfect sense that's needed. So
I see. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Let's have a card for. Are we working from the Trello board here?
Yeah, we've kind of reviewed all the cards in it.
All right. I see a couple of them here that were flagged for Nautilus. There's the OPA auth and async request flow. Should those be unflagged for Nautilus, or did they merge for Nautilus?
OPA auth merged, so it can be new. There's several cards that can go, I think, but we just hadn't plugged on them yet. That's done. We got most of, but I think not all of the STS. But any stuff, I'm not sure which PRs lagged there, but certainly that would be in Octopus. Anything that's left.
All right, I can move the existing card over, and we can say remaining pieces.
And there were some things, yeah. Also, group policy, we basically have all of that, but except for remote groups. I don't think remote groups are going to be in Octopus, but they would probably be eventually.
Group policy should go into
group policy. Group policy went into Luminous, but not remote groups. Well, they actually did it. I guess I'm getting confused. But bucket policy we had. I guess not. I guess group policy is not in. Sorry, forgive me. I guess group policy is not in any of these. It's not really. It's a weird term. It's not really the right. It's not really an AWS term. I guess this is.
Should probably just rename the card to be more specific. On this top one though, the async request flow thread consolidation. That's an ongoing effort, right? So that should be re-tagged as Octopus, I assume.
I hope so.
Yeah. We haven't declared victory on that one yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Request flow is ongoing. Remote group. Is that Octopus?
I don't think so. Although there is now an upstream request for it from a large site. This has a little more structure.
All right. Sorry, Casey, you should probably drive this. I don't know what any of these cards mean. So I'll step back.
So are we just starting at the top and tagging things or moving them?
Yeah, probably. Could drag the things up that are closer. I mean, ideally, at least the top part of this will be ordered, and the top end of them will be tagged.
Okay, so there's S3 select. I don't think we can tag that for Octopus, but there are projects being organized around it. Worm, there was a pull request. Did it merge? Either way, I think we can take that for Octopus.
Yeah, I think it's not merged in Nautilus, but yeah, we can take it for Octopus.
Okay.
For bucket replication, we talked about wanting to have for Octopus, but I think that's sequenced after reshard.
Shard. Is there a dynamic resharding in multi-site?
I moved it up.
Just mentioning maybe that there's in the per bucket granularity design is a solution for that works a bit differently than what Casey's been working on, which I don't really remember how it worked, but I just remember that it's like it's part of the design. It kind of solves the resharding for, but it's not something you can backward. So I think
The resharding is in progress already, or is there like a solution already settled on, or is it?
There's kind of 2 or 3 projects that have to happen first, I think. So I'm working towards it.
right.
Okay.
But is it that eventually we'll be able to take whatever you do there and backward it to Nautilus, or is it not likely?
It's hard to say. I would lean towards not backporting. I think it's going to depend on a lot of your metadata changes, and I don't think we want to backport that stuff.
Yeah,
So
we've got enough on our plate.
Right, so my question is, maybe do we want to review the per bucket thing and see, maybe look at it from that angle and see if that could, we can kill or get the 2 birds at once.
Are you trying to link? Are you saying that the per bucket replication and dynamic resharding for multi-site are linked?
They're linked in the sense that the resharding for multi-site is not a like the problem that we see now wouldn't happen there because the way it would work, right? What happens now is we need to stop the sync and start do the reshard and then restart the sync. But in the per bucket replication, you're able to
I see what you mean.
Fetch data from multiple instances of the bucket. So you don't you don't need to do that, and resharding would work seamlessly. Resharding.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like that one is one that potentially lines up with the sequence of steps that we need to make the metadata changes. Same thing with the zipper stuff, which I don't see on here. I wonder if it makes sense. Pluggable backend. So
Yeah,
I wonder if
it
it makes sense to like pick out the ones that are sort of unrelated to that and sort of orthogonal feature work and get those sort of organized and then pivot to.
My understanding is making multi-site compatible or resharded with resharding is kind of is a blocker for people with multi-site as it is now. It's a critical feature there, so we're not going to solve it
right
by just bypassing the problem to the next level of.
Well, but if you cannot backward it, that's my
right.
Well, we had to have that discussion. I didn't understand some of the connections here, but I think I certainly want to try to advocate within the team within my downstream team for a way to make that
backportable.
Right, portable. That piece of it, not the higher level functions that are in new capabilities, but.
Yeah, we might have to. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's going to be more work to implement that first in a backportable way before doing the other metadata changes, then we need to make for lack of a better term, a business decision, whether it's the best allocation of resources to do it in a way that'll help our Nautilus users versus get to where we want to be faster for Octopus and beyond.
Or maybe there can be different efforts, but they're trying to converge.
Yeah, it could be separate efforts completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, what I was going to suggest is that maybe it makes sense to pick out the items here that are sort of somewhat orthogonal feature work, things like worm and S3 select and I don't know what else, remote group or something, STS, and flag those ones. And then after those are sort of organized, pivot to a discussion around the metadata changes and backend changes that we're planning, and see if we can break that down into discrete cards steps so that we have a sort of a path that we can map out. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, the ones that are like, well, Worm is in Nautilus. The S3 select is totally orthogonal, but it's not, probably not. Sorry, Worm is in Octopus. But I mean, I don't think S3 select is likely to be an Octopus. It's going to be worked on in the Octopus timeframe, but I think it's too novel to expect much of it there.
So what else falls in that category?
Remote group. I don't think it's likely that there will be an effort started on that. I think new bucket index strategies in STS will be an Octopus. The STS already is, but what the web identity auth will be there. Keystone already is in Nautilus.
For the STS Keystone identity.
The new bucket index stuff work by Eric will be in. I think it's planned for Octopus. He's working on a change for that, and
Is that singular? It's a new bucket index strategy, right?
Well, there'll be a strategy, but Yehuda pointed out in the past, we want it. Part of this should be a way to make future changes less painful.
Okay.
Other things that are in here, I mean, I would skip past Cephs, which I don't think anyone's working on. I'm not sure what I know what bucket log API is.
Yeah, this might be obsolete. Sorry, go ahead.
A bucket log.
I can answer the bucket log one. There was a Cloud PR from a couple of years ago that they submitted that we never merged. It definitely needs cleanup, but it implements access S3 access logs. It had issues, yeah.
There's that. I think the reason why we created this card, also why I added this card, back in 2018 was because we had a backup user who wanted a way to get incremental backups when they're backing up their S3 buckets. But I wonder if the event stream from the serverless whatever stuff, if that would capture that. PubSub. I wonder if that would capture that use case.
Yes, but it might be missing the piece where the getting events on full sync. But generally, yes.
Does this card make sense anymore? Or should it be recast as specifically the S3 object API or?
Well, yeah, I guess we forgot to add a card here. S3 full S3 notifications. I think we ought to put in, and I think we're trying for those for Octopus. There's no card for that right now. I would get rid of this card, I guess, the bucket log API.
Just put it all down at the bottom because the S3 bucket log API is a thing that in theory we could do, but.
Oh, you mean S3 notification, bucket notifications? Okay, yes.
Yes,
yeah. Okay, I got that. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that we would need to do? Sorry, I missed what you said. You hit it for the incremental backup use case, or is that
for incremental there is PubSub, and that already works. What I was saying is, if you wanna start thinking, from existing buckets.
You have to do the initial sync.
You need to do initial sync in a different way, but order the way, where you can just flip it on and it'll start sending you event stream on existing objects. And that, at the moment, I think it is disabled by the way it works. Or it's not working at the moment. So.
Mm-hmm. In principle, though, an informed user module that in the backup software could use a combination of list
Yeah.
objects and the PubSub API and do everything they need.
Yes.
But probably we're in good shape there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 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 Where are we at? Think from cloud?
Yeah.
Actually, that one we should probably move down because it's probably going to sequence after all the per bucket and or zipper and or whatever, all the metadata changes. Hash order enumeration.
I think this is no longer. I think it's outdated.
I mean, isn't this the unordered listing stuff that Eric did?
Actually,
That
it might be.
merged for what?
It's Nautilus.
I think
that's
we
what this means.
backported all the way through Luminous, right?
Oh, have we actually?
All right, I'll dump it in the Nautilus bucket. That sounds good. Cool. Okay. Per object storage classes.
That's already happening. Like that's Nautilus, yes?
Yeah, merge from
steering.
Nautilus.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's meant by per object here? It's like more of a bucket level thing. Right? Yeah, but storage classes in general is not.
So I could not understand. What was the question?
No, it says per object storage classes, but it's more of a bucket level policy, right? When we talk about storage classes.
Well,
yeah, but when you
would be per,
yeah.
per bucket or per zone, but it's you have per object decision.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Data export backup. What does that even mean?
We have archive zone in Nautilus already, I guess. Maybe we can qualify that as backup.
Should we just delete this card?
++.
Yep.
All right.
I also propose that we delete the Ceph's card.
Yeah, unless someone wants to stand up as intending to make. I don't know why this was here. I don't know.
Yeah. Probably just because it's analogous to.
It can be. It can easily. It can be made. It can be made if somebody wants it, but I don't want it.
Yeah. We had Ira on the team a while ago, and he was a Ceph's guy and was thinking about it, but yeah, that hasn't come up in a long time.
All right. So bucket tagging is already merged, looks like.
Yeah, it's a master.
That's right.
It should be
We'll move that to the Octopus column.
Merged like in Nautilus or in Luminous? It's
master.
No, yeah, it's not until Octopus.
Is it? So, oh, before I do like object tagging.
Bucket tags.
Bucketing.
Bucket tags. Yeah.
All right.
Now, Robin, you were volunteered in Cephalicon to reorganize object tags, bucket index. That's something you would work on. In fact,
it was more around how that was consumed in the manifests and why those were slow. Maybe. Definitely on the object model manifest side improvement.
Someone should probably do it.
Yes.
Get a card for it.
So this was an optimization for lifecycle processing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it helps in policy decisions as well, I guess. Most likely. No, it's not. Yeah. Yeah, most likely. I mean, most importantly, lifecycle processing.
There were some complaints at the time at Ceph, the way on some basing optimizations there that I thought that they were there, and apparently more than one person complained about. So, has anyone looked at those in their life cycle?
Yeah, I'm looking at some of them, like interacting prefixes and optimizing the traversal for the plan for prefixes.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't doing this one. But someone should do this one. I was trying to get Robin to do it, but maybe someone else will do it.
Yeah, let's just at least create a card so that we don't miss it.
Let's vote. Let's vote.
I
Who's in favor of Robin? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will improve the object tagging storage then. Just find somebody else to help on the data model piece and the manifests.
You got it.
Can we make, since I don't see one on Trello already, can we please make it a card for the object model manifest change?
Well, I created optimized object tags. Do you want to change the name of that to something?
No, I'm saying isn't a separate one. That was my proposal, that everything is a manifest with 0 bytes that can live in a separate pool from the real data.
Sure. Someone needs to. Can you create that? Well, I can do something. What do you want to call it? Object? What do we want to call this?
We were saying, is it object model is a good name for it?
Is it object references?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we talked about, right?
Yeah, I don't see a card for it.
If it's object references, it'll come in at some point. Because it's part of.
So this is object references plus the ability for the heads to live in a different pool. Is that right?
Well, the head's ability to live in different pool already exists, right?
That everything
part
is
of the theory.
everything is a manifest and heads are 0 bytes and live in a different pool.
That's basically tiering that allows you to do it. Kind of, but not necessarily. Maybe. Well,
I'm just saying I don't
maybe.
see a clear standout card for it.
The 0 byte part of things are not there yet.
Is there anything else here that we should call out, or should we start looking at the metadata changes?
Well, the GC logger stuff is going in the Octopus, and there's already a prototype of that.
Oh, map bypass GC logs?
Yes.
Right.
What about the QoS profile?
Can you say that louder? Your mic is quiet. QoS
Something about
profile,
QoS.
Yeah, QoS came up a little bit earlier, and we talked about drawing up a design for it and seeing what we can do for Octopus. So if you want to work on that, that would be great.
Got it.
So, what do we? So did we add a card for what Robin asked with the chat? I'm still not sure if we're talking about RGW object references or new.
I haven't added a card yet. I need a more concise sentence for it and type it.
RGW revisit object model. So that would be a first step.
Yeah, that is done.
Okay. So is there anything else before we focus on the metadata changes and the cloud stuff?
What about testing?
Okay. You want to add some cards for that?
The question: what are we missing? What aren't we
Yeah.
missing?
Well, one obvious thing is mixed cluster testing for multi-site.
So RGW mix cluster version cluster multi-site.
Makes
Would we do that in accordance with the Toothology team? Because that means we'd probably have to means we'd have to import two sets of packages and then start some on one and then some on the other. And there's no way Toothology can do that right now.
I think there are two separate
Yeah.
issues here. Yeah, Toothology should be able to do it, right? But
Yeah, I think
it's two sets. One is actually, building something on top that would be smart enough and know what to do, and then leveraging Toothology to spin up the clusters. That would be, but when you say multi-version, does it include one zone on one version, another zone on different version? That's what we're talking about, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Upgrade suite, maybe both start at the lower version and you upgrade one and test that stuff still pass and fail over to the other one and run tests again. So that we test both cases.
Yeah.
Do we see minimum release support or something like that? It's almost always assumed that you at least support 2 to 3 releases down, right? But I mean, at least so far we haven't changed anything in the sync model that we don't support anything from. I mean, everything upside of JOL is still supported.
I would probably target N+2 the same way we do for the other upgrades,
Yeah,
just to keep yourself sane.
right.
In our upgrade testing, do we test something where we dump a bunch of data in one version in different ways, and then after 1 or 2 releases later, we make sure that it comes out the same way?
That's what the ragweed thing is doing, and that's in at least some upgrade suites. Not sure it's in all of them.
That reminds me, do we have a scrub? I know we've talked about this off and on, having an RGW scrub that just walks all the RGW
Yeah.
metadata.
Yeah. Lipcart decided to focus on other things, right? That they were looking at it, but need to at least have a plan there.
Can we make a card for that?
Should.
Maybe would it make sense to have like a per zone scrub and then also a cross zone scrub?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Per zone scrub would just walk everything and make sure it's all readable and internally consistent, and a cross zone scrub would actually compare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Or making sure that, yeah.
Potentially that would just mean restarting full sync on everything.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, maybe. That sounds nice. That works.
Okay. Any other test cards that we need?
Is there going to be any automated performance testing? Or I guess maybe that would go in performance and not under RGW.
Probably.
Whatever.
So Mark in the performance call was talking about an initiative to do some performance regression testing. So maybe RGW could take advantage of some of that.
I imagine if a limited investment of time just to feed in to him, like what tests should be run, whether it's CosBench or whatever, and possibly some work to make sure that those are runnable via Tethology or whatever he's using. I think he's using Tethology, CBT. I think CBT already does CosBench. Anyway, I imagine just having a conversation with him and helping set up those suites will mean that he'll do most of the work.
Regarding testing, that reminds me that Urit did some reshard tests for Tethology that never merged. They're not passing anymore. So I'm going to add a card to get those running again.
The task that she wrote.
Yeah. I
Also,
can
there's
find
like
that here and link it.
in testing, there's a restart local runner she wrote, which is also almost working. Kind of works well for SV tests and stuff like that. Maybe
Yeah,
not as
so
good.
you've all took a look at that a couple of weeks ago, and something was very broken with it. He said he had no success following the instructions that Arit and I had put back, even after he cherry picked the commits on top of master. So that is one thing. I don't know how it's possible that it took it's taken steps back, but that was what you've all mentioned.
Let's see. So we got the Hadoop tests running again. Lifecycle expiration tests are still disabled for Tethology. Getting somebody to get those working again would be great. Is that worth a card?
Yeah, I
Sure.
think it is.
Yeah.
Because the
Everyone can
life cycle
have-
is getting more and more use pages.
Should the restart test cases get moved up and tagged with Octopus?
Okay. Please.
And I guess the life cycle expiration ones too.
Yeah.
Okay. What about scrub? Does that make sense to sooner or?
It makes sense to put it somewhere, so that we remember about it.
Move it up here. Okay. So, we talk about the bucket metadata changes then? talk in the chat. I think that it feels to me like the big unknown is still how do we break this into like some discrete steps. If I remember correctly, one talked about it last time. One was looking at separating out the zone replication policy from the zone group. I think it was, or from the zone group, I forget. And making that a bucket property. I think that was, I don't know if that is sort of captured by the per bucket replication. I guess it is.
Or
Or it
it's kind of orthogonal, right? The two mechanisms that are not necessarily depending on
this
one on the other.
Public.
Yeah, anybody who needs access to it, if you request, I think it should pop up something, hopefully.
I did already.
Okay. It is. Robin, it shared with you.
Thank you. I can see it now.
All right, so there's a zone replication policy part. There's the bucket layer stuff, which I think is more or less also known as the make backend pluggable / zipper / what Dan's been working on. Is there another part of this that we can or should explicitly call out, or? I think probably once that abstraction exists for the level 2 bucket layers, layouts, whatever, then there'll be like a bazillion random cards that we'll add, like adding an S3 backend, an Azure backend, all the different stuff around user credential translations and the tiering modes and so on. But I think it's sort of all blocked behind getting that API sorted out a little bit. I don't know. You tell me.
That sounds right to me.
So is it possible to make backend pluggable card either? Is it possible to make that a Octopus priority to get that initial refactor in place?
Certainly being worked on.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there a better name other than make backend pluggable, or is that?
Zipping?
MVP.
What? Make backend pluggable? Oh.
MVP.
Perfect.
Another acronym that never was needed, but it did.
We need the MVP of MVP. Where we're at. Okay. Okay. That seems like a pretty good picture to me.
Yeah, I think in terms of prioritizing this work, I think it would help if we pick kind of a first use case. Maybe it's per bucket replication and figure out kind of the sequence of the things that need to happen for a specific feature.
Yeah.
because this is like a whole lot of targeted use cases, but kind of hard
Yeah.
to prioritize like that.
I think per bucket replication seems like a good one. That'll drive the first half of that. It probably also makes sense to go and tag people on some of these cards, just so it's clear who the point is. Some of these, but yeah. All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour. I have to drop. But this looks pretty good. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right. See you guys.
Bye bye.